right. Well, let's get into the show title, right?
Right.
It has come to our attention, as it always seems to, that HipHopDX, very credible website in years past. I've gone to them for a lot of new music.
Hmm.
They were criticizing the sales of Nas's Magic project. It says Nas and Hit Boy's surprise Magic album makes a dismal Billboard 200 debut. And not to just go on the title of things, I went through and read the article. Did you read the article?
I did.
Okay. I found it very interesting that they didn't really say a lot about the album itself. Everything was talking about performance. And, well, first things first, we're living in an era where, and I've been saying this over the past few months, first week sales don't matter. I think that I was talking about that while the Donda and Certified Lover Boy stuff was out. Because they were trying to make that another one of those 50 Cent Kanye West things where it was like,
Hmm.
okay, we're going to measure the album's results numerically and crown that king. That didn't seem to work for either one of those albums. So first of all, I don't know why sales were even a conversation, and especially we were talking about an artist like Nas, who's never, we never really gauged Nas on his sales. I mean, famously, Illmatic did what, like 50,000 in the first week, something very low. It took forever to go gold, and no
I
one
mean, the
cares.
original. I mean, Illmatic. Its original, like as far as like 1994, it came out in April. I believe it moved 300,000 units in '94.
In the whole
Memory
year.
serves. Yeah, from
Okay.
April to the end of the year, it moved like 300,000 units. It didn't get gold, I think, until like until the guest appearances in '95 happened for him, like the Cool G Rap, the Mob Deep, the Ray, like all that. It went gold around that time, and then it went platinum around the time I think it was written. Like it really just, so it was
Um.
never a big seller.
Okay. One thing that happened in this article too is the fact that I believe Magic went number one on iTunes like the first week. That wasn't mentioned in this article. I found that interesting that that was left off.
Well, let's talk about the overall synopsis of the article. It's not that they made an invalid critique because they pulled up factual numbers,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of goes back to the fabric of what I've been saying. It's like, why y'all talking about Nas like Nas is just like some sort of regular, like run of the mill hip hop artist and not giving him the respect like other legends and other genres are giving, even if you're critiquing their material. Like one of the things to say about Nas is something that you just said. Well, Nas is somebody that hasn't really been determined in this culture by his record sales. So these sales are da 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 da. You get what I'm saying? There's so many avenues as journalists that they could have traveled to give him some respect still while saying all of these sales driven factual things. And they conveniently left out other information that was positive, like him going number one on iTunes. So when you
Mm-hmm.
skew it from the manner of critiquing in that manner and then leaving out other pertinent numbers driven information, well, now it looks like you have an agenda. And that's why we pulling up, even though we like them and respect them. It's like, well, they know what time it is. And
What
so
the,
it's like, what y'all doing?
what the thing is, it's like, okay, like you said, why is this even the lead in? And why wasn't it why wasn't it more about actually reviewing the album as opposed to this
Well,
critique? And because I still haven't seen a review from any of these publications in regards to Magic. Do you mind if I read
well,
some of the article, for the people who might not have it pulled up?
yeah, yeah, run it.
Yeah, yeah. I want. That's why I was over here. I was looking it up on my other computer. All
No,
right.
no,
So it
do what you
says.
do.
So it says Nas and Hit Boy surprise Magic album makes dismal Billboard 200 debut. Nas and Hit Boy announced their collaborative album Magic just one day before its December 24th release, and less than 5 months after King's Disease 2. Boasting 9 tracks, the album features just two guests, DJ Premier and ASAP Rocky, and came with the with the promise of King's Disease 3 on the song Ugly. Now, Magic has made the Billboard 200 debut, but it didn't exactly dazzle, at least not yet. According to Billboard, the project moved over 22,000 total album equivalent units in its opening week, landing at number 30. By comparison, King's Disease 2 landed at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and approximately 56,000 total album equivalent units moved. While the modest debut could be attributed to the holidays and its Friday release, Playboi Carti earned a number one album with Whole Lotta Red, which was released on Christmas Day in 2020, although the holiday fell on a Friday. I don't understand why that was even done, but okay, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Unlike Magic, Nas was able to do plenty of interviews ahead of following King's Disease 2's arrival. In December 2021, Nas spoke about the album in an interview with Vice ID, which he agreed the project was really focused on his legacy as an MC. Then they got the quote from there where it says, I thought that it should give people some insight into where I've been and where I'm going, he said about the album, but also at the same time just expressing what I'm feeling and how the day is and where I am at this age at these days, and how happy that I was just to be in the comfort zone and make music, and at this place where I am in my life, I'm happy to give people that experience. More specifically, Nas talked about the track Death Row East, which the rest of this is about King's Disease 2.
So, Mike, so you want to know what happened? And this is what I mean, and this is why we pulling up. And we've been pulling up about this a lot. They ain't doing no work over the holiday. That's what this is about. They went and pulled quotes that were more related to King's Disease 2. Mm-hmm. Because doing stuff concerning Magic would have required them to listen to Magic multiple times, do an adequate, proper review, and go get some relevant and current quotes related to Magic. They didn't do their job. Like, they didn't do the work. It was the holiday and they didn't do the work, so they just threw something together. And it's like, this is what I keep saying. No, like, you don't just throw something together for Nas. Like, y'all not more important than Nas to this culture, so you don't carry him in that manner.
This was a bunch of nothing. In my opinion, this was, not to interrupt you, this was a bunch of nothing. It's like,
that's what I mean, Mike. They didn't do any work. It's a bunch of nothing. They just threw a whole bunch of work. They didn't, Mike. It doesn't. And we're gonna get to.
First, you say he did. First, you said that it did drop on Christmas Eve. Well, first of all, they put it out there that that he gave everybody a day's notice, right? And then you said it dropped on Christmas Eve. And then you want to bring the caveat that I didn't like, where they brought up Playboi Carti's album dropping on Christmas Day last year, which had 24 songs, by the way. And if we're talking in streaming units, obviously a 24-song record is going to get played a lot more than a 9-song record, right? So, come on, man. And Christmas Day is different than Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day was on a Friday last year. So
no, Mike, this is what I mean about they didn't do any work. Like, this is simple journalistic stuff. Because they didn't want to do the work, they're like, oh, well, let's relate it to whatever hip-hop project came out around this time last year. They skipped the work of working on the project.
You know what? It feels like, and this is where I'm coming from with it, and I'm sure that, everybody who reached out to us about this actual article feels a similar way. It feels like it would have just been less work to actually review the album, as opposed to pulling a bunch of nothingness and trying to get a catchy title to say that basically Nas and Hit Boy fell off with this album.
So now let's go ahead and get to this. Well, in moments like these, this feeds that whole agenda where it just seems like, they really don't want somebody like Nas on top of this game. It literally is against everything that certain powers that be are for, because of the things that he's for and represents. And it shows itself in these moments within our community.
Who wrote this article? It says Kyle Ustis. Let's see. I want y'all to see who wrote this. Is that Kyle? That looks like a woman. I don't know.
I don't. I mean, I care who wrote it, but I don't, because
Uh,
it's the whole narrative again that we keep having to discuss about a few things. But and this is the thing about it. Nas is the target of this, other than legendary MCs. Like I've been saying, it's like no other legend gets treated this way, but it's like no legend should get treated this way. They don't get treated this way in any other